Good evening, my lovely ladies and gentlemen. This is BestInSlot, and tonight we're once again going to have a little look at some of the awesome community-made dinosaurs and some other stuff for Jurassic World Evolution. Now, before we get started on this, I do want to say very quickly, I always feel a little weird doing these videos because at the end of the day, this is work that other people have done who obviously aren't, you know, YouTubers for a living and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I am kind of directly profiting, or at least getting views, from their work. So again, if any people in the video want me to take this video down, I'm more than happy to do so. I will link the profiles of these people down below, so you can check it out for yourselves. But it's just some really, really cool stuff that I'm hoping gives Frontier this sign that this is something we really want integrated into the game. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the video, but some of this stuff really should be part of the game, and I'm hoping Frontier sees that there is a real community upswell for this sort of thing and thinks, you know, it wouldn't be that hard to implement, let's get some of it into game. So we're going to start off by looking at some stuff by Reddit user Evanuss. Now Evanuss, Steamblust hasn't done that much recently. Steamblust, we looked at his work a couple of weeks ago, some really awesome fan-made dinosaurs like the Raptor and stuff like that. That was really impressive. There is a couple of Steamblust things we're going to take a look at in a little bit as well. But Evanuss has kind of taken up the mantle since then with some really, really cool dinosaurs. Now we're going in order of least exciting in my opinion to most exciting whilst we go through these. So let's take a little look. And a lot of these are basically, they're not necessarily new dinosaurs, but they're repurposing current dinosaurs to make them fit into Jurassic Park canon in different films. So this is the Lost World Stegosaurus, which is just, I mean, it's not the most individually exciting dinosaur in the world, let's not pretend otherwise, but I do like that the tail has been fixed. There is a persistent problem in Jurassic World in particular where the Stegosaurus tail for some reason goes like this. Meow! And we don't really know why it was changed to be like that, or why it's being persisted with. The Stegosaurus tail should be much higher, just like it was in the Lost World. This wouldn't take much effort at all, I don't think so. We're not going to focus too much on this. Next up, we have the Jurassic Park 3 Brachiosaurus. Now, I hate the Jurassic Park 3 Brachiosaurus. That scene, the scene right here, you can see it over here, where the Brachiosaurus leans in over towards the boat when they're going down the river, and it's got this weird face and the colouring is bizarre. I don't know why the Brachiosaurus was changed so much and then changed back, and why all these Jurassic Park 3 dinosaurs had this weird like red tint around their eyes. The Brachiosaurus had it, the Ankylosaurus had it. Okay, that's 2 dinosaurs, but that's still more than 1 dinosaur. I wasn't the biggest fan, but this skin would be a very easy nod. You know, the basal Brachiosaurus design doesn't need changing, so why not just give us some more unique skins? I mean, okay, let's look at the skin for a second. It isn't the most exciting skin in the entire world, let's not pretend otherwise, but it's just a little bit. All the Brachiosaurus skins at the moment are the same, and basically every skin in the game, with a few exceptions, are the same skin but recolored slightly. Just having a slightly alternate pattern here around the head, or some different patterning around the body, or maybe even potentially giving us control over those colours a little bit more, would go a long way. It really wasn't a factor for me initially, but the lack of variation in the skins, and particularly in the patterning rather than the colouring, is actually starting to bug me a little bit. I think it wouldn't be that hard to implement some extra stuff like this. All you'd have to do is have a genetic component that is for aesthetics, and let's say this aesthetic right here would just be an overlay on the existing skins. Now, I'm not going to get into the game design aspects of it, but I don't think it'd be that difficult. Moving on to a very cool one here. I absolutely love this Raptor. We're not going to go into too much on this Raptor because we have already talked about someone else's, but it's just a very pretty little Lost World Raptor, isn't it? This is my second favourite Raptor design in the entire Jurassic Park canon. It is also, even if you had the completely default Jurassic World Evolution style Velociraptors, this has been changed a little bit. Even if you had the completely default Raptors and you gave them this skin, people would eat it up, because this skin is 100 times better than any Velociraptor skin we have in the current game. The current Raptor skins suck. They are terrible. I've mentioned it multiple times. They're all incredibly boring. This would not be that difficult, and look at it. There's a bigger message here about Jurassic World Evolution and Frontier's principles about modding. I don't think this is directly applicable. One of the reasons that Frontier said they don't want to introduce modding is because they didn't think people would be capable of sort of matching the quality of Frontier and their designs and sort of maintaining that quality of the Jurassic Park franchise. Now, that's a terrible excuse in my opinion for 2 reasons. Number one, people are as skilled. At the end of the day, there are so many people out there who are as skilled as Frontier developers, as skilled as developers of any game, especially when they can focus all their attention in on one dinosaur. You know, Frontier have had to build this big, hopefully complex game in like a year and a half. They've had a lot to do. Whereas one person could go and spend 3 months building a really cool Lost World Raptor in reality. They're just not a comparable situation. And the fact is, there are people out there who'd be able to do this kind of thing in reality. The second problem I have with it is, who cares? Basically, if somebody wants to put in a stupid Barney the dinosaur looking mod, why is that a bad thing? I don't see what the issue there is. I've harped on about this a few times, I don't want to go into it too much, but I think the real reason, I think most of us know the real reason there's no modding in the game, is because of Universal. They don't want the ability to, you know, put in like a gory mod or a nude mod and stuff like this. Stuff that people inevitably do in every game they get hold of when they get the chance. People don't want it in the game. That's not fitting with the ethos of the Jurassic World franchise, which is now this big blockbuster million dollar franchise. It doesn't fit anymore, so they have to come up with a different excuse. I don't buy it personally, but oh, Frontier, I love you, but sometimes you say silly things. Moving on, we have a very cool T-Rex book from the Lost World Jurassic Park as well. You can see here the colours just matching beautifully on both sides. Just again, another interesting Rex skin. I do have to say, however, the Rex in Jurassic World Evolution has by far probably the most exciting skins in the game out of the carnivores at least. The Spinosaurus, for example, also has some very cool skins, but they're all the same pattern. The Rex at least mixes it up just a little bit. We also have another Rex, which I like even more. I think this is the Jurassic Park 3 T-Rex. Again, this can't be that difficult to implement as a real skin, right? But it looks fantastic. It would make such a different looking dinosaur for our parks. And the final one by Evanuss, who, as you can see, has just done some awesome skinning work. Proper JP3, my favourite Raptors in the entire franchise by a mile. The one thing I really like about them is, I mean, the colouring's really cool, this blue stripe down the side, the red eyes, there's something so threatening and feral, you know, even these little, sort of the hairs sprouting up the spines, whatever you want to, quills, whatever you want to call them, sprouting up from the back of the head, the proto-feathers, I think they're meant to be. That's all really cool, but the shape of the skull and the way they behave in the film, you know, Jurassic Park 3 gets a lot of hate, but the Raptors were definitely a highlight. Other than the one that pretends to be a model in the tank. That was mind-bogglingly stupid. Anyways, there's something so feral and aggressive about these. You know, the Jurassic World Raptors have become quite puppyified in some ways. They kind of look like dogs, you know, they've got big faces and big eyes, and they're given all personality and stuff like that. They've lost that threatening, monstrous, hunter in the night kind of feeling they had in particular in the second and third films. More so than even in the first, in my opinion. And these Raptors just personify it so beautifully with that really thin head, the red eyes. They look like hunters. They look awesome. And I'd love to see this kind of change come into the game. It seems so silly to me that Jurassic World Evolution, when they were making Jurassic World Evolution, they said, yes, we have to call it Jurassic World Evolution, we have to call it Jurassic World because that's what the franchise is these days. But don't get us wrong, this is a Jurassic Park game as well in a lot of ways, and it has some facets in there. You know, we've got the 1993 Jeep in there, we've got a lot of the original designs in terms of the dinosaurs, you know, going back to the first film, the second film, blah 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 blah. But then all the Raptors are nothing like any of the existing Raptors other than the fairly boring Jurassic World ones. There's no T-Rex from the Lost World, or there's no T-Rex from Jurassic Park 3. Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus is there, but I think if Jurassic World had its own Spinosaurus, then we'd have that one rather than the Jurassic Park 3 one. I think the game needs to treat its history just a little bit better, and I can see why they haven't. Again, there must be a directive from the top saying, you know, you have to do this in a certain way. We are Jurassic World now, please behave like this franchise should. But it's a shame for all of us that grew up on these films, and I think most of us prefer the original trilogy to the new trilogy, if that's how you want to split it up. There's another film on the way, we'll see what happens, but yeah, moving on. The next set is by Steamblust, and these are ones that Steamblust has done before in the past, and I kind of just wanted to highlight them because they're awesome, basically. Steamblust did have a little post on the subreddit about YouTubers using his images and stuff like that. So again, I need to stress, if anyone wants me to take these down, I'm more than happy to do so. I kind of just want to highlight some awesome community stuff. I also want to highlight some community parks down the line as well, stuff like that. I'll talk about that in a little bit, well, in a future video. But you know, I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way, basically. But they do some awesome stuff, and I just want to share with you guys in case you've missed it. So we're going to first actually move that a little bit. That is the Therizinosaurus. This was released about an hour after I posted my video a couple of weeks ago, you know, on Steam Blast's awesome stuff. Annoyingly, damn you, Steam Blast. It's just, it's really, really cool. I have a problem with Therizinosaurus in Jurassic Park because I think Therizinosaurus inherently is kind of personified by having those feathers. You know, it's a big part of the character of the dinosaur, along with the long claws and the general weird body shape, and the fact it kind of looks carnivorous despite being a big old herbivore. It is, however, my second favourite dinosaur, and if it came into the game like this, I wouldn't be too unhappy. You can actually see how Steam Blast put this together if you go into the subreddit. I'll try to link that specifically down below, but it's made up of multiple different dinosaurs from Jurassic World Evolution, kind of put together, and it's really impressive to see come to life. We have a few more, so I just want to highlight these. Some of these are a little bit older, you know, this has been there for a while. Again, just highlights. I mean, even if you want to keep this style of Raptor, you know, the classic Jurassic World, well, not classic, but the Jurassic World Raptor we have, why do we not have a skin that makes them look like blue? Why is that not a thing? Or Delta or Charlie or Echo? Why aren't they? And I don't understand the thought process behind the Raptor skins. I know I harp on about it, but it blows my mind. The T-Rex is a big fancy dinosaur in the franchise. It got multiple unique skins. It got some really cool skins. The Spinosaurus, yes, doesn't have unique patterns, but it's got some very, very cool colorings. Even the Ceratosaurus has 2 different patterns, although it primarily uses the striped one. It does have another one, I believe, for the coastal skin. And yet the Raptors are all just boring, patternless, nothing to them. And yet there is patterned Raptors all throughout the Jurassic Park franchise that they could call upon. It blows my mind hole. Moving on, we have a little Evanuss. Don't really have anything to say about that one, it's just nice. And we have the Fallen Kingdom Demon Carnotaurus. So this is a skin, this hasn't been changed as in the actual design of the Carnotaurus, but this is a really cool skin based on this scene right here. So a lot of people didn't notice this, but this Carnotaurus here, from when they're releasing all the dinosaurs at the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, was actually a different, I mean, obviously it was a different Carnotaurus than the one on the island, because the one on the island is dead, but this one, this scarred Carnotaurus, has like a different patterning a little bit, and it's got these big scars across the face, and I just think that looks really cool. And why not integrate that as well? You know, there's this big wealth of patterns and designs and interesting stuff to draw upon, even if you don't want to make your own, so let them in, use them. And the final thing, before we look at one more thing by Steam Blast and someone else, is this. I messed around with this little idea, and we're going to see it again in a second, of how you'd integrate Jurassic World Evolution into like wider Jurassic World stuff. It's kind of hard to explain what I mean. I barely know what I mean, but this is, you know, our little Jurassic World helicopter flying around, and imagine if this was, I mean, that's the Jurassic World Island right there. All these trees and stuff are the Jurassic World. This is a Jurassic World Island, right? And then they've added in the observatory from Jurassic World, with all your Dimorphodons and your pterosaurs sort of flying around doing E.T. people stuff. I'm not really speaking great English here, am I, if we're honest? I just thought it was pretty cool, basically. But I'm going to show you a better version of this. This was by somebody called SteamBlast2, and he worked with another Redditor, although I didn't see their account, called Atomic Pang, and they made something absolutely awesome. Just really cool. And what it was is a visualization, there we go, let's speak English, of what the Mosasaurus feeding show would look like if it was integrated into Jurassic World Evolution. I mean, I accept there's a big watermark over the middle of that, and I completely understand. You know, some people might get a little annoyed about that, but at the end of the day, people keep using this guy's work for thumbnails and stuff. Some people don't credit properly, all this kind of stuff. It is what it is. You know, people should take credit for their art, so, you know, go for it. We can still look at it, it's still very, very cool. So the idea is that the Mosasaurus feeding show would be something you could attach to certain parts. So what they've done is gone to Isla Tucano, the third island in the game, and kind of shown us where the Mosasaurus feeding show would be implemented. Look how naturally that just fits in. We'll get a better shot in a second right here. So you can see here, this is Isla Tucano. And the island kind of stretches across like that, and then a little bit to the top, and then it goes way down here to the bottom. It's kind of like a big strip. And there is this big lake over here. The island actually maxes out about over here. So when you send your helicopter over here, you see it fly over the lake. And at the moment, that is just wasted space. Now, at the moment, I don't believe they're working on a Mosasaurus or an aquatic DLC of any form for Jurassic World Evolution. And now, I can see why, but I want to put this as an alternative option. It's very difficult to do a full aquatic DLC. Think about the islands we have so far, how you would integrate tanks and stuff like that. Given the limited physics systems in the game, the limited terrain tools in the game, I think it would be exceptionally difficult to integrate a well-made aquatic DLC. I personally believe we'll actually never get it, which is a shame, but I don't think it's that big a deal. But it would be a big shame if the Mosasaurus specifically never makes it into the game, because at the end of the day, the Mosasaurus has been in both films. It was much bigger in the first film, but it was there in the second film. It was a big part of the trailers. It was there right at the start. You know, the Mosasaurus has become a fairly integral part of the Jurassic World franchise. And I think most of us quite like the Mosasaurus. I mean, look at it there. How cool does that look? Having this little Mosasaurus show here. Imagine this was just crammed full of humans. As much as we don't like humans. Mosasaurus swims forward, jumps out, eats a shark. And this is a really good way of how you would make this work. Every island has a little area like this, a little bit of water where you could fence it off with some land or a fence. And all that we need to do to get this Mosasaurus integrated is have it as like a research option that you unlock via research. Maybe even when you get to Isla Tucano, so you can't have it on Muerta, or where would you even put it on the first island? Where would you put it on Sauna? Huh, you'd figure out a way. And just have it as like an attraction. You don't even have to do anything. I personally don't care. I don't have to manage it. I don't have to feed it or anything like that. Just make it like an unlockable attraction that you can then build. You know, make it a big ticket item. Very, very expensive. And it gives good dinosaur visibility. It gives good variety. Or maybe it's just like alone it's worth half a star or something like that. It doesn't have to be something we inherently take part in. You know, we could just have this. You know, you could have a blank Isla Tucano, you do your research, and then eventually you get the opportunity to build this in this specific spot. I know that sounds limiting in a lot of ways, but it would be a fairly, in my opinion, easy way to integrate something that a lot of people want without having to go for a full aquatic DLC. It will be a big shame if we finish up with no Mosasaurus ever in Jurassic World Evolution, and I hope they're at least considering ways to do it. And final picture, there it is, at night time. And it just looks like part of the game, doesn't it? It's really impressive. The arena's made by someone called Michael Pierce. The Mosasaurus by Andreas Strom. I don't know who they are relative to what I'm looking at in Steam Blast and Atomic Pang. Whether they've just taken someone else's models and integrated them, which may well be the case, or whatever. Either way, whoever made the Mosasaurus itself looks really good. Really good shot of it there. You know, it kind of just fits into the Jurassic World Evolution franchise. It just looks great. And especially this just looks like a Jurassic World Evolution building. It really, really does. Fill it with people, stick it down, you've got a Mosasaurus feeding show. What's the harm, you know? Why the hell not? Anyways, all these videos is opportunities for me to rant and to hope and to wish and pray for a future filled with things. I do think it won't be that long till we find out what's next for Jurassic World Evolution. It's been a little while since the last patch now. It's been about a month, something like that, a little bit less maybe, about 3 weeks. And we haven't heard anything else. And the last patch was really good for me. I really enjoyed the last patch. It added some cool stuff. But it was predominantly bug fixes and quality of life and just upgrading the basic game a little bit. It did add challenge mode, but challenge mode isn't that big a deal if we're honest. I enjoy it a lot, but I do think people are now clamoring for something else. I hope very soon, before the end of this month, hopefully, before the end of October, we find out what is coming down the line. I'd personally be very surprised if no DLC drops before Christmas. The perfect time to drop DLC is just before Christmas, because then you boost the game up during all the Christmas sales. So I would look out for that personally. I'd be very surprised if something isn't in the works, and I'd be very surprised if we don't find out about it soon. As soon as I know anything, I will of course let you guys know at home. And we're going to end it there. Big shout out to Steam Blast 2, Atomic Pang, and of course the main one we looked at today, which was Evanuss. And I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers, much love, as always. Bye-bye. Quick little shout out at the end. This video and others like it would not be possible at all without the support of you guys watching me at home, and also everyone on this Patreon page right here who supported me in the last month. If you want to help out as well, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. Every little really helps. Cheers.